Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We come back from time to time speaking on issues which concern our public, our civic issues, and so on and so forth. Right now, as we speak, many of us in this panel and even amongst the people who are doing our back end work would have struggled to get to Panjim. Many of us are, commuting from Panjim to Margao and the south, need to add another 2 hours, at times even more, especially when you have to take flights and get to the other side. So the point here is that South Goa and North Goa seem even further these days because of the time that is taking to commute. The shocking part here, and the ironic part also, is that there is a brand new bridge that is ready for inauguration, which is going to finally happen today, the 29th of December. The bridge has taken a long time in coming. It's almost 2 years over the earlier proposed deadline for completion. Now, the chaos is actually happening mainly at the Agasai bottleneck, and also on the other side when traffic is coming from Kortali before you get on to the link which links Kortali to Zuari. That stretch also is completely clogged all the time. This has led to absolute chaos. One of the things that has been mentioned by commuters all along is the presence of police barricades placed in a zigzag manner throughout that entire road, which further slows down traffic and it comes to a grinding halt even more. And a lot of people are pointing that out to be the single most factor for this whole blocking. We will see and discuss whether that is indeed the case or not, but that's an overwhelming kind of a feedback that is coming from consumers. We will also look into whether this entire misery that people in Goa had to suffer for almost 20-25 days, especially leading up to the inauguration, could have been avoided if the bridge was opened as soon as it was ready, rather than wait for a VVIP to come and open. And we have this sense of deja vu, because the same thing happened when the old Zuari bridge was ready for completion, and people were waiting constantly for Mrs. Indira Gandhi to come and open it while the bridge was already open, and people had to kind of take ferries, and which we will discuss in detail. So there are issues that we need to get into. We need to also look into why there was no forward planning, why there was no alternate movement being planned for vehicles in the case of a jam, and we will look into whether traffic management is indeed taken seriously in this state or not. Not now, but historically. It is a legacy issue. It is not a specific government issue or a period issue. And we will also look into the role of commuters and whether they have been responsible commuters or not. And that is something which is very important. I have with me a very eminent panel. On my left, Mr. Roland Martins, coordinator of GoaCan, and not only an expert but a direct stakeholder and activist on many of these issues. Next to him, we have Mr. Dr. Purushottam Vedlekar. He is a faculty of the DMC College in Asagaon. Welcome, Dr. Vedlekar. And last but not the least, Urfan Mullah, who is the BJP spokesperson, who will obviously be asked a few questions on what the ruling government could do, though he's not a government person, but he's a key stakeholder in the governance of the state, so to speak. I'll start with you, Roland, without further ado, if you could kindly respond to any of my points and your opening remarks.
Yeah, so I think the larger issue in the state of Goa and for North and South Goa is that we lack a traffic management plan. I have been raising this in the various meetings of our road safety district committees and the state council, that we need the synergy of agencies. So it's not just the traffic police who has to, take the blame all the time for the traffic jams. We need to see how the transport department, which is involved with public transport, the corresponding village panchayats of the area, and eventually you need a district magistrate to bring everybody around the table to say, okay, how do we address this issue? Now, coming specifically to the Zuari bridge, I think one thing we need to learn from this is that we had a problem even when the old bridge was to be inaugurated. And I remember at that time, I was just checking the records that at that time Kiran Bedi was one person who just knocked off the barricades and allowed people to cross the bridge, seeing the misery that was going on at the ferry wharf and before the inaugural. So I think, we can, in hindsight, we can discuss and debate about what should have been done, etc. But I think what is urgently required is to see the lessons to be learned from this. And do we believe that we must have an alternate plan, alternate route, at least 3 alternate plans in case of an emergency? I think this is the larger question that we need to address.
Okay, we'll come back and delve on this further. Dr. Velekar, you have been a regular commuter for many years from Margao to, say, Panjim and then to Mapsa. What, according to you, are the fundamental reasons why these jams happen?
See, according to me, the main reason for this problem or the chaos which is happening at Kortali-Agasai section is irresponsible behavior of the road users over there. Okay, and this irresponsible behavior is not only restricted only to that part. Anywhere you go in Goa nowadays, we see that people are not behaving responsibly on the road. So it is the primary or fundamental thing that people have to inculcate among them, that आपण जबाबदारीन वागतलो, आपण रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीन वागतलो आणि मागीर आपण कमेंट करतलो. हांगासर कोण जबाबदारीन वागपाचे चिंतत ना. गोवन्स हॅव बिकम लायक वॉटर. म्हणजे वॉटर कशें इन नेचर, वॉटर वॉन्ट्स टू मूव, वॉटर लायक्स टू फायंड एनी एव्हेन्यूज अँड गो आउट. द सेम थिंग इज हॅपनिंग एट जुवारी or at Akshi Kortali section. People from Panjim side will come, people from Kortalim side will come, and both these people want to go. Now where they will go? There will be some small way going to Agasai village. Okay, they will go, they will take that road, they will create a chaos over there.
So there is no plan.
There is no plan.
Right.
There is no discipline. There is no discipline. So first problem is our own discipline.
Correct.
The road users first starts to develop discipline on the road and then comment on other things.
Correct. Ufra bhai, one quick question. I'll ask other questions. Firstly, shouldn't the bridge have been opened up for public as soon as it was open? Where is the need to wait for a VVIP inauguration? Because what happens is suffering could have stopped for at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
म्हाका दिसता सफरींग जे आसा हें गोंयान आयज बसून जायना. हें कितलीं वर्सां जालीं. आय एम ऑल्सो ट्रॅव्हलिंग एवरी डे फ्रॉम मारगांव टू पेंजीम. इयर्साचो प्रॉब्लम जो आसा हो गोंयान जो आसा चालूच आसा. लोक जे मडगांवच्या पणजे येता कितलीं वर्सां जालीं आनी हो एक ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट जो आसा गोंयांचो. सो म्हाका दिसता की हें ट्युरिजम जे डेस्टिनेशन चालू आसा, टुरिस्ट फेस्टिवल जे चालू आसा, लोक जेन्ना ट्रॅव्हलिंग करता जायते टुरिस्ट जे आसा गोंयान येयला, तो इनडायरेक्टली जे आसा आमचे टुरिजमाचे खात्यान जे आसा ट्रॅफिक जे आसा हेंय वाडला. आनी ऑन दॅट ग्रावंड जे आसा एक जो ब्रिज जेन्ना तयार जाता हें लोकांच्या पयशांनी जे आसा हो ब्रिज जे आसा येदो मोठो जो आसा तयार केला. मुख्यमंत्री खंय तरी दिसलें आसतलें की हो जो ब्रिज जो तयार जाला येदो मोठो थंय आमचे गोंयकाराचो जेन्ना पयसो लागला तेमी हो जो ब्युटी जी आसा ही आमची गोंयची, आनी म्हाका दिसता जेन्ना ब्रिज कंप्लीट तयार जातलो हो आख्खे एशियान जे आसा हेजें जे आसा ब्रिजाचें आसा आमकां दाखण पळोवपाक मेळटलें. आनी त्या ग्रावंडाचेर खंय तरी मुख्यमंत्रीक दिसलें की बाबा हे लोकांचो पयसो लोकांक लागून जो ब्रिज तयार केल्लो आसा की गोंयकारांक पयसो जो लागला तेमी वचून तो पयसो म्हणून ऑन दॅट ग्रावंड जे आसा थंय जे वचपाक जे पेडलरांक जे आसा तेणें जे आसा एलाव केलें. आनी ऑन दॅट ग्रावंड म्हाका दिसता मातशें थंय ट्रॅफिक जें जालां आनी हे प्रॉब्लेम जे आसा लायफ टायम सेटलमेंट जे आसा आयच्यान जेन्ना ब्रिज ओपन जातलो हो प्रॉब्लेम जो आसा लायफ टायम जो आसा म्हाका दिसता सेटल जातलो.
Okay, Arun, 2 questions. One,
Yes.
I wanted to respond to what Urfan just now said.
Yeah.
But before that, I just raised this whole point about barricades. Everybody is saying that if these barricades were not there, then the problem could have been elevated. The other issue is that could the inauguration have been done as soon as the bridge was there?
So let's look at the barricade issue. See, the barricade issue, as I look at it, is being an attempt to just deal with the road indiscipline which we were just now talking about.
Right.
So now zigzag barricades has been looked at one way of avoiding people, trying to create these 4 lanes and then finally have to reduce it to 1 lane.
Right.
So why these 4 lanes coming is basically because everybody wants to be in front and the road user is again to be seen as a road user means what? Majority of the vehicles are
But could we have had a situation where you take the barricades out,
Yes.
do a proper public social awareness program,
Yeah.
ensure that people maintain the lines. If they break the lines, you find them and catch them.
Yeah. So correctly, if you see,
Yes.
in the last 1 year, there have, or even more than 1 year, there have been discussions about using cameras.
Right.
So the cameras are not being used
Right.
effectively.
Right.
So if the cameras were used, and let's say every 2 days,
Right.
names of the people who were challenged came with their vehicle numbers,
Right.
it would have a social impact.
Correct.
So the point here is that I think we've not addressed it in this fashion because there's no plan. See, if there's a plan, and I think it's a multi-stakeholder plan.
Right.
for me, I would say the tourism department has played the least role in this plan.
Right.
They are the ones who are saying welcome to Goa. They are saying 365 days you come to Goa.
Right.
And we know during this peak season, thousands of tourists will come. Okay, who are going to head for the airport for their flights.
Right.
Tell me one thing, if I go to the tourism department website,
Right.
can I find data on the minute by minute scenario on this road?
Right.
So, which means if I am a person boarding a flight to Delhi or Bombay, whatever,
Right.
I
You're
can
blank.
find an alternate plan.
Correct.
So, the alternate plan has to be given to the tourists who we are saying, welcome to Goa. See, today so many tourists are going back and cursing Goa and Goans.
Right.
Why should I be responsible to take all these curses? So, therefore, what I'm saying is that the stakeholder which we find regularly missing in all this action is the tourism department, which is the cause of maximum arrivals on this road. See, the daily user, as my colleague in this panel has just said, he has been a daily user. Who has added to that section of road users is the number of tourists trying to reach the airport or coming from the airport. And therefore, one point here is we have not used the waterways.
Right.
From the airport, we could have come to Donapal directly. Where was the need for all this? So, this talk about transporting people from from the MPT area, airport to MPT and MPT on a hovercraft or whatever, to directly Donapal would have solved the problem.
Right.
So, we have not used the waterways. The ferry boats have not been used. See, the two ferry ramps, I
Right.
was surprised to see a notice that day saying that they want to hand over the ramp, Kortali ramp, to a private party.
Right. Right.
Where this ramp should have been on priority.
It should
And
be
they
used for
should have,
public use.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there should have been a standby thing where immediately people could have been like ambulances, those going for flights.
Right.
Because they are on priority. You
Right.
can't delay a flight. So I think that we have not used these, options that were there to us.
The other question about, I mean, should we have waited for a VVIP?
Yeah.
inauguration?
See, as I said, what Kiran Bedi had done, you need not need a Kiran Bedi. The government should have taken this decision, and I think that inaugurations must be done. I'm not against inauguration.
Right,
So
right.
I think Gadkari is the man who's behind all these projects.
Right.
He should have definitely brought on an appropriate day,
Right.
hold a bridge for that time, have the inaugural, give him the due and respect, whatever.
What about the 3-hour inaugural that is happening today? In the sense that, couldn't it have been better to have a quick 20-minute inauguration
Yeah.
and have the speeches and programs and everything at an alternate venue
See,
so that it's thrown open to the
So
public?
eventually, if you see, most of these things in the country change when there is a High Court order or Supreme Court order,
Right.
and then you put in place a system
Right.
which is there for the entire country.
Right.
In fact, today, if there are changes happening in the road safety and traffic management situation in Goa, I would say credit has to go to the Supreme Court Road Safety Committee.
Okay.
That is why everything is getting sort of pushed, and infrastructure is also coming on board
Right.
because of that. So, at some point of time, we will have to address it.
Right.
For me, the Zuari Bridge is a wake-up call,
Yeah.
because the next scenario we are going to see in Porvorim. After 5th of
Yes.
January, where Mopa Airport starts,
Yes.
we will not be talking about Zuari more, but we'll be talking about Porvorim.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
get to Porvorim
Yes.
again.
Yes.
One of the things that he's mentioned is basically using alternate routes and the use of social media.
Yes.
Also, I think what is probably has been missing is the awareness amongst people to use their transport a little better, or use public transport a little better, in the sense that you're talking of carpooling. You as a professor, you've are following the good practice of doing carpooling. My point is, a lot of load can also be reduced because people can actually commute together, use just one car instead of having 3 cars, and so on and so forth.
No, that is personal choice, sir, I believe.
Right.
But from the administration point of view, there should have been a better public transport facility developed in Goa.
Right.
Now, for example, if a person is traveling from Margao to Panjim, he will come by a bus using a public transport. But
Right.
if he has to commute somewhere in the city of Panjim, he doesn't have a better options
Right.
to go.
Right.
So what the person will think, ना आता आपल्याक पणजे वचपाचें आसा थंय आपल्याक vehicle मेळचेना, so he will take his own car or vehicle and he will come.
Right.
Similarly, there is no connectivity between Margao to popular tourism places like Kalangut or this coastal side of Bardesh,
Very
or
important.
even for that matter Mapsa.
Right.
So most of the passengers who commute by train, they will get down at Margao railway station and again they will hire a taxi, and that will put another burden on the same route.
You're right.
So this has to be looked out, or this has to be sorted out properly. Secondly, one more thing, we have an option of railway network. See, the railway line is parallel to the national highway.
Right.
But if the number of local trains increased on this route and the stations are connected well with the cities, like for example for Mapsa, there is a nearest station is Thivi.
TV.
So Thivicha and Mapsa येवपाक जर regular buses दवरली connecting to the train, that would also help people. But
Right.
nobody is thinking about that option.
Very
There
important.
was one local train 2 years back which was running between Pernem and Karwar.
Right.
But suddenly after this COVID, the train service has been stopped.
I see.
So such things has to be looked upon and has to be taken up at priority. Connectivity from Penne railway station to the beaches like Arambol or Keri, that side. Connectivity from Thivim to Kalangut, Kandolim. Connectivity from Karmali to Penjim or Danapaul, this side has to be done so that people can also use railway network which is available.
Right.
That would
Right.
reduce lot of pressure on the highway.
Right. Do you feel that governments along the years, whether it's the Congress government or the BJP government, enough focus has not been put on traffic management and use of media and social media to create awareness?
It is not like that. जे सरकाराक कितें करपा जाय आसलें, वी हॅव डन एवरीथिंग. आतां तुमी सांगलें की ब्रिज जो आसा डिले जालो 2 वर्सां ब्रिज डिले कित्याक जालो, तेजें कारण आसा कोवीड. 2 वर्सां जी आसा आमची कोविडाक गेली. ते आसतना पसून आमचे जे आसा एजिटेशन आसता, केसीस आसता, हें सगळें जावन जे आसा ब्रिज जे आसा हो डिले जालो, हेजो मुख्य कारण. सेकेंड, आतां पर्वरीचे आमी उलयता इनडायरेक्टली जे आसा पर्वरी हें जावपाक लागलां की तुमकां पर्वरी जेन्ना ब्रिज जेन्ना जावपाक लागतलो तेन्नाय सेम जे आसा टॉक जे आसा लोकांचें आसतलें, सेम प्रॉब्लम जे आसा लोकांक फेस करपाक पडटलें. 4 years यू हॅव टू सफर सो दॅट 100 years प्रॉब्लम शूड बी सॉल्व. आतांय सेम जातलें की हो जो ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट आसा मनोहर भाईचे विजनाचे टायम, दीस ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट वॉज स्टार्टेड. आफ्टर दॅट डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंतान जेन्ना टेक ओवर केलो, हे डिसायडेड बाबा की हो एज अ ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट आसा की वीच इज अ ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट न्हू. मोपा एअरपोर्ट जावं आमचो, जुवारी ब्रिज जावं आमचो, दुसरें आमचें हॉस्पिटल, हे सगळे ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट जे आसले जे मनोहर भाईन ड्रीम केल्ले, हेका सगळ्यांक जेन्ना डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंतान आपल्या ताब्यान घेतलेले, आयज ते ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट जे आसा करून लोकांचे मुखार हाडून जे आसा आयज तेजें इनॉग्रेशन जावंक वयता. सो आय थिंक डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत जे आसा हेणे जे आसा हेजे सरकारान जे आसा जाता तितले एफर्ट्स घालून लोकां खातीर जे आसा हो ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट जे आसा करून हाडला आनी हेजो श्रेय जे आसा सरकाराक वयता. आनी जितले जाता तितले बाकीचे लोकांकूय जे आसा म्हाका दिसता खंय ना खंय पीपल which were suffering from last so many years, हो प्रॉब्लम जो आसा लायफ टायम जो आसा सॉर्ट आउट करपाचें काम जे आसा डॉक्टर प्रमोद सरकारान जे आसा केल्ले कडेन आसा. म्हाका दिसता तेका फाल्यांच्यान जे आसा लोक जे आसा जे सफर जाल्या दे विल स्टार्ट एप्रिशिएटिंग डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत सर.
Sir, I'll just
sure.
interrupt. Sorry for this.
No problem.
See, I do not know whether it is a curse on Goans or it is our, आमचो स्वभावच तसो. We have failed to prioritize things. When Atal Setu construction was going on, already there were 2 bridges on that stretch.
Right.
And there was only one bridge connecting Akshi and Kortali, and which was a weak bridge.
Right.
So instead of giving priority to constructing a new bridge at that section, government decided to build this bridge. So
Meaning the Atal Setu.
at the Atal
Yes,
Setu.
yes.
If that bridge was constructed first and a secondary priority was given to this bridge, then many problems would have got solved at that time only.
So what you're essentially saying is that this project should have started even before the Atal Setu did.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Rohit, a quick
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He mentioned that look, these are dream projects, these are infrastructure projects, they are the need of the hour,
Yeah.
and you need to do it.
Yeah.
I'll just draw your attention to two things.
Yes.
One is that there are 2 ways of handling the thing. If there are either you cook more food to cater to more people, or you have less people in the party.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
The idea is to now, with these construction activities going on, they are the need of the hour because there's more population, there is more traffic on the roads.
Yes.
So as this is happening, there will be pressure on to create more infrastructure. We understand that, and that will lead to cause of less, more land being acquired, more farms going down, more farmers losing their farmlands. All that is also a part of development where
Correct.
people lose a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Your fields go, your farms go, your livelihoods go. So infrastructure also doesn't come without its
Without a price.
Without a price,
Yeah.
and this is a very strong social price that we are playing,
Yes.
Yeah.
undoubtedly. Now the thing is, even for bridges like this, while the bridges were going on, there's a lot of pain that people
Yes,
suffer,
yes.
and people say, today's pain may be tomorrow's gain, but today's pain is increasing so much that tomorrow's gain does not become as rosy as
Yeah,
you feel.
yeah.
Now, practical question: if the traffic management committees were in place,
Yes,
if the panchayats played their role,
yes.
how could they have reduced the pain while the construction was going?
See, that's the point which, I think if you see when the construction started,
Right.
that there was a board which says today's pain, tomorrow's gain.
Right.
After some time, that board disappeared.
Right,
See, because it was only pain.
right,
Right. And I would say let's look at simple things.
right.
There is a order of the collector to close roads in Margao regarding sewage.
Right.
It says very clearly, traffic marshals should be put by the contractor. You tell me in the last 1.5, 2 years, where are the traffic marshals of Dilip Pilcon?
Correct.
Okay.
We've not even seen one.
So you have 12 policemen. I've got the minutes of the State Road Safety Council. It is given there. First point,
Right.
Honorable Minister Mohin Gudino said, 12 police should be put on either side, not 12 only on one side.
Right, right.
12, 12, 12. Now, what I'm saying, 12 policemen, where is the traffic marshal as given in the contract?
Right.
So, what I'm trying to point out here, see this thing about, that's where I disagree, and it's not because of political party or whatever. See this thing for tomorrow's gain, I should suffer today. Projects have been built all over the world. People have taken care that there is no suffering. See, when people suffer, then you go into petition, there are agitations, etc. The point here is that how can we plan where you gain without pain? See, the point here is that it's not impossible to do it, but it requires to put heads together.
Right.
Here, I think, every department is thinking independently. And that is why I'm saying, for this government, future governments, we have to work in synergy.
What alternative plans could have
So
been made?
the alternate plans here, see, we have a traffic management, road safety and traffic management committee in the panchayats. Okay, newly elected panchayats are there. Even now I'm saying, after this inaugural, there are going to be problems.
Right.
Tell me, if there's an accident on the road,
Right.
what arrangement you have got to lift these vehicles out? Okay, you required a fire brigade to come there. There are vehicles getting burned every week. You can see across Goa.
Right.
I have written to the director of fire department. What are you doing?
Right.
There are people who are using 4 things in their thing. They are lighting their cigarette in the car. They've got a small mini fridge in the car. They are overburning the engine. Fires are taking place.
Right.
2 cars get burned. There's a tanker next to it that explodes. What is the arrangement
Right.
to pull this out? So my question is not that tonight when you inaugurate this bridge, the problem will be solved.
Right.
I'm saying that we've got to be prepared for new problems. Okay?
Right.
Whoever thought that a vehicle would jump that bridge and go into the river?
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
we lost lives there.
Absolutely,
So
correct.
the point here is that, see, we cannot say that today this is going to be inaugurated, there will be no problems tomorrow. I'm saying we got to be prepared for any eventuality. And as long as this airport is there, we are going to have a lot more traffic
Right.
heading for the airport.
Right.
So my question still is that are we ready to look at alternatives? Taking airport people to
Right.
Panjim directly,
Right.
rather than still trying to make them,
Come to the same stop.
route. And therefore, I'm saying involve the local panchayats of Kortali, Vedna,
Right.
Agasai, and Goa Valley, etc. So that the bottlenecks,
Correct.
you see, as he has rightly pointed out, everybody wants to go to a side road. You go to a side road and do what? You basically come to that same point
Absolutely.
and jam again.
Correct.
So even look at the signages. Speed limits are not there. Where are the speed limits?
Correct.
Okay, and once this bridge is going to be inaugurated, I am telling you the way people are going to drive. People are going to jump over that bridge, and we will require cranes now to pull vehicles out from the river. So the problems are not over. The problems are going to start. The question is, are we ready to have a plan in action? And I have today morning only I went and spoke to the person in charge of the lead agency, Mr. Prahlad Desai,
Right.
saying that we need to immediately have meetings by both the respective collectors to put a traffic management plan in place.
So right now there is no plan.
There is no plan which covers everything,
Right.
including disaster management.
Okay.
So we need our ambulances to reach on time, to have a free access. All these things need to be worked out.
So, Develika, you see the name of the game is also communication, proper communication,
Yes.
proper
Yeah.
discourse with people, as Roland also said, that there is no proper information. There could have actually be a proper traffic app which tells you.
Yes.
Right now, all we are dependent on is Google. We look at the Google thing and we see the red
Exactly.
line
Yeah.
and we know, we have a fair idea of where the block it is.
Correct.
Apart from that, there is no ready system. The radio could have also been used. I mean, 91.9 instead of just you're playing songs and advertisements can also have this service where you can give a live report, or there could be a proper app which tracks traffic completely.
Yeah.
Now, what more can be done? And the issue is, let us not only blame the government. We have startups, we have very good IT companies, we have very young people in different colleges and others. What can these people do? What can the young people do, the tech savvy people can do to create this kind of an awareness and tell the government, look, we are coming forward to do this?
See, I am not from the IT sector. I do not know how.
No, but at the end of the day, you are a consumer
See,
of the road,
yeah,
and you would
one
need
thing-
more information coming to
Correct,
you,
correct,
so that you are a more aware consumer, commuter.
Yes, see, everybody nowadays we use Android phones.
Right.
So from Android actually knows our locations.
Right.
So similar way, if whoever is using the particular road, they can just update themselves that they will be on the road. So automatically that data can be collected. For that, it requires a very proper and authenticated the softwares or apps, because it is a private data. It should not be leaked.
Right.
It
right.
should be used only for such things. Now, for example, in railways, you get a real-time data where the train has reached.
Right.
So, as per that, people plan their journey. If such real-time data is available for the traffic on the road, not only on the Google, like as you said, some on or in other app, people can make use of it and they can plan accordingly. But even to plan that, no, we do not have alternative. Now, I will just slightly move from Zuari issue to Porvorim issue.
Right.
Now,
I was coming to that anyway. But
sorry.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
Do
just
it.
an example.
No, do. Because
People
that
will
is-
come to know that there is a traffic jam at Porvorim.
Yes.
But what will be the alternative? There is no alternative only. Maybe people will try to take some village road via Sukur or
No, but
Salegaon.
ultimately you have to come to that point.
Ultimately
because you
you have
cannot
to-
cross the
yeah.
bridge unless you come to the bridge.
Correct.
Yeah,
So there is no alternative as such available in such a small state.
Right.
If multiple routes were available, then there would have been a different case. And secondly, if government or the planning agency decides to build some more roads, again there will be opposition. Are maja bhatatlan vata, tuja bhatatlan vata. People also will not, cooperate. So thinking about that, we should have, as sir has said, we should have had a very robust traffic management plan. If not roads, we should have we should have already planned for a metro. We should have planned for a internal railway network, how it has been developed in Mumbai.
Correct.
See, ata
So what you're
population-
essentially saying is not only a traffic plan, there should be a comprehensive mobility plan.
Yes.
That's important because the mobility plan and traffic
Yeah.
plan has to go hand in hand.
Correct.
Because if there was a proper metro system or a train system,
yes.
see, even getting passengers from Mopa to say Panjim or to South Goa, we are only thinking of the road. We are not thinking
Yeah.
of an alternate mode of transportation.
Yeah, so just to intervene,
Yes.
there is a last mile connectivity task force.
In Goa.
Yes, it is. We have had only 2 meetings. I'm on that task force,
Right.
and I've been pleading repeatedly to
Right.
have these meetings.
Right.
The last time the meeting was held at MPT because that official came from Delhi. He was available there. We all went there.
Right.
See, what is the eventual issue?
Right.
That I must have last mile connectivity, and it is very clear in the minutes there that rail, water, road connectivity, air connectivity
Minutes
of the meetings.
Right.
Yeah, and it was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister
Right.
at a national level, and every state,
What was launched?
this last mile connectivity concept.
Okay. Right.
In fact, this whole process took place in September, 3-4 years back,
Right.
when all these talk came about electric vehicles, etc.
right.
And the idea was that if you're in the plane, you're using an app, you would say be able to even decide how you're going to visit a wildlife sanctuary or the bird sanctuary at Sharau.
Right.
And I remember at a meeting I had raised the question that the ferry boat details are not available, and Chief Secretary then told the then Captain of Ports, upload on the website. Arre, kyun nahi hai? So the point here is that do we believe in last mile connectivity
Right.
for a tourist destination?
Right.
See, local persons know when they want to go, where they want to
Absolutely
go.
correct.
But we are welcoming people and there are no bus stops. There is no proper signage. So again, we have to look at this question of last mile
If I
connectivity.
may, if we can just get him here. See, do you feel that a constructive suggestion can be given to the government to basically take these things on board? There is a last mile connectivity task force let the task force get into action. Don't you also feel that either we get the information department or other departments of the government to ensure that this whole issue of communication is slightly better, apps can be created, then it can be put into action. More people from society can be also involved in this kind of an activity. Better signages can be put on roads. All these things require a lot of a big communication effort, and that is your field.
See, basically, just आता जेणे सांगला.
Good.
See, we are working on it.
Hmm.
The party plus government is already working on it. आणि सरकार जे आसा सदांच जे आसा सरकारान जे आसा लोकांक इन्वॉल्व करून जे आसा हे जितले डिझायन करता हे सगळे लोकांक इन्वॉल्व करून करता आणि कसलोय जो प्रोजेक्ट जेन्ना हाडटा ते लोकांक जे आसा त्यांना घेऊनच जो आसा असले प्रोजेक्ट जे हाडटा व्हडले प्रोजेक्ट हाडटा आता परवरीचो आमी टॉपिक काढलो किरण बेदीचोय टॉपिक काढलो किरण बेदीचो जे मॅटर आसा इट इज एक्सेप्शनल केस एकूच जो असो मॅटर असलो जालो असलो की इंडियन जे आसा किरण बेदीचे
Kiran Bedi is certainly exceptional, but the thing is, my question was that for all these activities, use of social media, use of apps, use of real-time data, these are things that a political party cannot do. This is part of good governance.
Yes.
The issue is that, but don't you feel that this should be done on priority? Because a lot of time has been lost and it's not a BJP issue or a Congress issue.
Yes.
But the point is that, shouldn't this be something that needs to be looked at even more strongly so that these things fall into place? If you have an alternate transport plan, alternate mobility plan, then this pain will go down even further.
डेफिनेटली तुम्ही आता सांगला डेफिनेटली वी विल वर्क ऑन इट आणि मुखार समज कितें जेन्ना आता परवरीचो ब्रिज वर टॉकिंग अबाउट की कशे तरेन करपाक जाय असले जे आमचे जे एनजीओज आसा वी विल टेक एवरीबडी इन टू कॉन्फिडन्स एंड वी विल टेक अ हेड बाबा कशे तरेन जे आसा असले प्रॉब्लेम जे आसा वेर पीपल इज सफरिंग गव्हर्नमेंट विल वर्क आउट ऑन इट
Correct.
एंड सो दॅट प्रॉब्लेम शुड बी सॉर्ट आउट
I'd now like to get to Porvori.
Yes.
Because that is a bigger elephant in the room.
So I want to continue
Sure.
with your point, sir.
Sure, please.
About
Please, then we'll go to Porvori.
awareness and making people aware about the situation.
Yes.
Kadamba Transport Corporation has tied up with Google
Right.
to inform people about the exact location of the buses.
Right.
So I'm using bus regularly. So I was using that service. On Google, it was showing that bus is supposed to arrive, but in reality, the bus did not come only. So these are some of the drawbacks which has to be looked out and has to be addressed.
Correct.
Because it was 9 in the night. I was waiting for the bus. I thought bus would come. It was showing in the Google that bus is about to come, but bus did not come only. Then I had to call my friend to pick me up from that place, and I reached home. So if such things are developed, it has to be seen that the things are
Yeah, because
updated
Google
and
cannot always be reliable because Google works on certain algorithms,
Right.
but it may not be in link with the reality of
Reality.
Goa.
Yeah. So you're coming back to Porvori.
Yes.
See, I think the first thing that can happen is the assembly session is on the 16th.
No, firstly, I think you must know why we're talking about Porvori.
No, so
because with the Mopa airport coming, the Porvori becomes a critical
See,
issue.
even without Mopa airport, right now if you see, every day there are small traffic jams taking place on the Porvori stretch.
Right.
Okay.
You mean Oak-Rokero to the bridge?
Yeah, no. On the slope, right from
Sangolda
Giri,
slope.
Right.
Sangolda slope, from Giri to Okokero,
Right.
that's where the bottleneck is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what I think is important now, to get everybody on board. Okay. 16th the assembly session is going on.
Right.
What I'm saying, even if the assembly session takes a resolution that Baba, this needs to be, traffic management should be given a priority. Why? Because the assembly session complex is in Porvori only.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So things can happen. So 16th is not far away. Okay.
Right.
It's also opinion poll day.
Right.
So let's get the opinion of people. Let's involve everybody. The point here is that see, right now there is a blame game and finger pointing, and he has rightly pointed out about the road user. See, carpooling is something that has to be popularized right across the yeah. We have to encourage people. Why are there so many bikes on the road? The bikes on the road is because public transport has failed.
Right.
We have been repeatedly raising the question that you need to give wide publicity. Let's take the simple thing of now there's going to be a bus from the airport to bring passengers. Again, this Kadamba will say, "Na, most person basana the guardian." I propose to Kadamba, give me the schedule. I will propagate it.
Right.
I will sit in the bus one day. I have no problem.
Right.
Because this is what we want, public transport.
Correct.
So we have to put these things on the table. Public transport is very important, And
Coming
therefore,
to Porvorim, let's
so coming to Porvorim also,
Yeah.
okay, what are the routes for public transport? If you want to get to Panjim, okay, you can go to the coastal side.
Right.
If this stretch from Giri to Kokero is the bottleneck, okay, then why not look at the alternate routes?
Right.
Okay, let's say
But
slightly
you
longer.
have to use the water, because how many bridges can you make?
No, so water we have already said,
Yes.
water is already on the cards.
Right.
The point here is that we need to involve more people in the solution.
Right.
And therefore, what I am saying to say, the road safety committees which are there along this highway, okay, and the major district roads which are there,
Right.
let's involve the panchayats.
Right.
Okay. Let us see that they necessarily put. Now, for example, we have money is not a problem.
Right.
We have even shown where the money is available to buy those bollards, to buy the ropes, to clear the bushes.
Right.
See, there are so many things on this road.
Right.
I personally have walked along this road and identified the encroachments. We have made a detailed list and submitted. Till now, these encroachments have not removed. So, what is happening here? The road is getting narrow and narrow every day.
That's right.
So, we have to look at all these things together. So, if we are going to deal with Porvorim and prepare ourselves, we must address the problems, the bottlenecks that are there, and put an agency maybe to keep a track Monday to Sunday,
Right.
during the week, which vehicles are coming, what is the peak hour rush. Data has to be collected on all this.
See, the last point I'd like to bring in before we sum up this. See, all of you have raised some very, very good points. One very important factor that is coming out is inter-stakeholder connectivity and interdepartmental connectivity. For instance, I'll give you an example. For this particular debate, we wanted the RTO to also be here. The RTO's response was, what will we do in a debate on traffic management? We only register vehicles. Now, quick response to that in the sense that why should this kind of a response come? Because everybody is a stakeholder. Why do certain departments feel that if there's a traffic jam, tourism has no role to play and RTO has no role to play?
Compartmentalization
Exactly,
of our thoughts.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yes, that's true. No, but I'm just wanting a quick response to you. Why, for instance, according to you, what role can the RTO take? Can they say that, look, we will have a cap on the registration of vehicles? We will see that there is some mechanism to see that more vehicles. I'll just get your response. I'll just let him also speak and then we can get.
Regarding RTO,
Yeah, my RTO is one specific question.
Yes.
There is that how can departments like RTO, tourism, how can they be involved a little more? And what can even the RTO do to see that this traffic chaos comes down?
no RTO. See, we have a transport corporation in Goa, that is KTC. So RTO and other government department has to tie up with KTC
Right.
first. That is a priority. First, they think they should do with tie up with KTC and provide transport solutions to people. Like art and culture department, to ferry their staff, they have tied up with KTC, and KTC runs a dedicated bus for their staff
I see.
from
Right.
Margao.
Right.
Similarly, there is a dedicated bus for Goa University.
Right.
Like that, if RTO ties up with Kadamba or some other departments where there are a lot of commuters,
Right.
then some solution can come up which would reduce the load which is there on the existing road infrastructure.
My same question, please.
See, government is already taking everybody into confidence. Transportation,
No,
municipality,
taking into
panchayat.
confidence and working together to come up with a solution are two different things.
गव्हर्मेंटान जे आसा ऑलरेडी जे आसा सगळ्यांक कॉन्फिडन्सान घेवनूच जे आसा काम करपाचें पंचायत नाव इज टॉकिंग अबाउट पंचायत
Right.
म्युन्सिपालिटीज ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन हे सगळे जे आसा मेळून जे आसा सरकार जे आसा
Right.
आयज जे आसा हे जाग्यार घालपाचे प्रयत्न करता
Right.
आनी हेमी जे सांगला तशेंच सरकार मुखारूय जे आसा समज NGO कितें आमची जी सरकार आसा ही पीपल फ्रेंडली सरकार आसा डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत सांगला अँड इज टेकिंग एवरीबडी इन टू कॉन्फिडन्स NGOज जेन्ना जेन्ना जे डेलिगेशन घेवन येता NGO जे सजेशन घेवन येता सरकार सगळ्यांचे सजेशन मानून जे आसा ताका पूर्ण करपाचें काम जे आसा डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत सरकार
Rohit,
करता
how can we have a last mile connectivity between taking people into confidence and effective solutions?
Yeah. So the urgent need is we are going to the new year.
Right.
So we have to start by opening a new slate, a new chapter, and therefore very importantly I think is that if the government in January itself can call for two separate meetings by the respective district collectors to say, okay, we are going to take up this whole traffic management issue
Right.
on priority,
Right.
and start activating the whole system.
Right.
So then directions can be given to, say, the director of transport,
Right.
how to use their fleet of
Right,
buses.
right,
Okay, how to use share taxis, all these kind of things.
Correct.
But unless that directive is given, no, the various departments will not move. And
Right.
that is the thing, is the newer kind of resolution
Correct.
I think is required.
Okay, last words on your solution.
Sir, you were mentioning about communication and making people aware about things.
Right.
Most of the government department, they have their social media handles. I see at least on Facebook that people are commenting now. Recently, government has put a advertisement regarding inaugural of Zuari Bridge.
Right.
People have commented on that advertisement. People have given very good suggestions also. People
Right.
have tagged Nitin Gadkari sir. People have even tagged CM sir and given suggestions, but such suggestions our government is neglecting. So if your government wants to communicate with people, government or the authorities should be in a position to welcome the suggestions which the citizens are giving and to check on the viability. See, citizens may not be true always, but they have their own line of thought.
Correct.
So that line of thought also should be given consideration and an effective solution can be brought up.
Ufran bhai, why don't you take this into account? The fact that there are suggestions that are coming, often some people of the public feel that
I'm
all the
not agreed
suggestions are
on
not.
what he's saying, that
Right.
government is not taking the suggestion of the
No,
public.
he is giving specific examples of suggestions regarding Zuari Bridge.
Yeah,
He's
but
not saying all
whatever
suggestions.
suggestion people are giving, I think government is accepting the suggestion, and he is quick. If you
Government,
see,
okay, is there any agency which does this?
no, directly whatever, if he tweeted on CM post, whatever he's saying, I think CM is immediately responding. A small tweet also, if you are doing, is immediately responding on
See,
this.
idea is that is a good practice, but what happens is that is one good way of communication. But otherwise, there should be a mechanism within the government to essentially look at all suggestions coming on social media, and there should be a social media team from the government side, not from the party side, to kind of react, process, and ultimately channelize all the suggestions and give it to another particular point, then where it can be actioned. So it can be only has to be streamlined. I'm saying the intentions may be very good. One is not doubting the intention, but I think the execution can be better if you streamline it better. That's only a suggestion. That's only a suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, your last word. Before
Yeah, so as I said, those watching this debate, I think can also get active. See, there are Gram Sabhas going to be happen on 26
Right.
January.
Right.
So I think if all villagers, citizens, as rightly pointed out,
Right.
we must change the mindset of people that every stakeholder should get involved in the solution,
Correct.
not only highlighting the problem.
That's
So even if we can have on 26 January, Republic Day Gram Sabha, a discussion on traffic management
Correct.
and the way forward.
Right.
Everybody can give their suggestions. It can be pulled. It can be put before the traffic management committees and take it forward.
Okay, we've unfortunately kind of run out of time, but on an issue like this, let us accept one thing. There is no government, no administration, or no power which would deliberately want people to get into jams and suffer. But what is happening is this whole problem gets accentuated because smaller problems are not solved. There's no proper streamlining. There's no proper planning, and when you do that, when you kind of fail to plan, you plan to fail, and that is what is happening. Because of failure to plan systematically, you are actually planning to fail. That may not be the desire, that may not be the intention. But what is happening is that if infrastructure and development is always linked to prolonged sufferings, then firstly the right message does not go. Secondly, the benefits of infrastructure and development, which are indeed very good, does not penetrate into the lives of people. And finally, what is also more important is that this is not a problem that cannot be solved. There are solutions to everything, but it needs multiple stakeholder engagement, proper planning, proper backup plans, and more importantly, you plan for the future. And plan for the future, look into traffic loads, do so. It has to be a vast multi-stakeholder project, which probably is even more important and is more valuable than the overall infrastructure project itself. So I think let's look at this. Some constructive suggestions have been given. I'll request Urfan to take some of these suggestions back into the system, because he's the system in this room. So we would like that to happen. I thank all my panelists. Dr. Vellekar, thank you for a lot of your inputs, especially from the issue of real-time data and other points that you made as a long-time commuter. So I thank all the panelists for these suggestions. Let us start on opinion poll day, and let at least our lawmakers actually call for a proper traffic management system and a look into all these things. Let one day be set aside to debate on these things also in the assembly. So let all the voices come. The public also have a big role to play. The social media has a big role to play. So we are all in it together. Let's look at it this way, and let us also look at practical suggestions and not choke our roads and create difficulties and bottlenecks. Otherwise, we'll all be in the ICU with no hope of redemption if we don't do this soon. Thank you very much, and let's come back with more solutions, more topics, and more panelists to deliberate on these issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.